Sir, earlier in the previous segments, you said that with the president going to China, this is the time for us to give a bit of a pushback.
Yes.
As well, you also said that we have to establish our presence again in Scarborough Shoal. I'll go to the second one. How exactly do we establish that now that they're there and we're not? What can we do without getting into something that would escalate into something that nobody wants?
You should send the Coast Guard to, resume its patrols at minimum, or at the very least, go there and continuously monitor even the China Coast Guard. And this needs to be based on perhaps some kind of arrangement with them, like the code of conduct, no? The problem has been that the Coast Guard has not been going there, no? And well, of course, there have been reports that they're under instruction not to go there in order to not provoke China, no? I mean, but clearly this is not an issue of whether our presence provokes anything. The fact is that China has failed to protect the shoal, despite their claims that they're doing so for environmental reasons. What is happening is that they've actually been there to protect the continued destructive operations of these clam diggers, no? And that has been hidden from us, hidden from our people as well as the rest of the world.
But if the Coast Guard goes there and they see something being done illegally, for example, collecting corals or maybe more giant clams, should they step in?
They should. Well, of course they should. No, I mean, under our laws they should. No? And if China still refuses and thereby protects these clam diggers from our laws, from our even if we don't consider it to be a legal action, if the China Coast Guard is still there and prevents the Philippine Coast Guard from trying to protect the reef from the destructive activities of these Chinese clam diggers, no, I mean, then it becomes clear to the world what China is really there for.
But Scarborough is a common fishing area. Diba, sasabihin ng China, we have a right as much as you to be there. Paano ko yun nasabihin?
Common fishing area, just because it's a common fishing area does not give anyone the right to destroy the whole thing, because that completely
but we have no
destroys the basis.
jurisdiction to deploy our own forces.
We should have. I mean, again, for the government to have a strong position, it should begin from the assumption that that is Philippine territory, and therefore we have a right to send our vessels there to try to monitor the situation, and if necessary, to stop any illegal destructive activity.
What if we send environment police, DENR or BFAR?
Well, the Coast Guard BFAR, I mean, whichever you send there, these are deputized anyway.
Because then we can say that we are not militarizing, we are just sending people to inspect. Because it's a common fishing area.
Yes.
And we were not awarded sovereign rights over Scarborough.
We have sovereignty over Scarborough. That should be as well clear, no? For us, that we have sovereignty over there. It's just that right now China is denying us the ability to exercise our sovereignty, and unfortunately we're allowing them to do so by not even sending our Coast Guard there, not even sending our BFAR officers, not even to monitor what's going on. Diba? That is why I said earlier we seem to have retreated from that.
Because the arbitral ruling didn't give us sovereign rights over Scarborough.
The arbitral ruling did not resolve the issue of who has sovereignty over Scarborough Shoal. But it did say that it is supposed to be a common fishing ground, and therefore all countries
nobody owns
it. Even if nobody owns it, it's not that nobody owns it. They said that they could not decide who owns it. But it is a common fishing route at the very least between China and Philippines, and therefore no one should be exclusively controlling that area.
Okay. So no one should stop the other.
Yes. So on that basis, we should also be there, and the Philippine government has to first take that step of establishing that position, and then asserting it by sending our people, our government enforcement agencies there. They don't need to send the military on the assumption that since it's the China Coast Guard there, it should be Philippine Coast Guard, which is counterpart. No, that should not be seen as escalatory. No, because if it is, then there's really something wrong with the other side.
BFAR is an armed